on locations throughout the world.
Standing passengers, please do not lean against the doors.
Picture goers, we bring to you new films of interest.
Chicago in State is next. Doors open on the left.
The miracle of the motion picture.
Please be considerate when talking on your phone or listening to electronic devices.
Chicago's a nice town if you're looking for pizza.
Welcome to 4 Stars, a Chicago film podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremy Martyr, a manager at the Music Box Theater.
And I'm Paco Alvarez, a journalist based in Chicago.
And today on the podcast, we're wondering if this thing is on.
Is this thing on?
We're here to do our second Dispatch episode covering the films of the 61st Annual Chicago International Film Festival. Today on the podcast, we're going to cover a few different movies. But let's start first with some of the Chicago selections in the City and State section of the festival.
Yes. First up is Anything That Moves, directed by Alex Phillips.
In this raucous exploitation thriller, a Chicago bike courier / sex worker delivers whatever his clients desire until they start turning up dead. What do you think of this movie, Paco?
So, Anything That Moves, I really liked it. I thought it was pretty awesome. It's filmed in 16mm. It looks really good. There's a lot of really cool, just like up close, like claustrophobic shots. And then there's also a lot of like beautiful night shooting within the city. Yeah. I think like out of all the Chicago movies, this one of the narrative ones fiction ones felt the most like kind of like lived in and like really like on the streets. Like there were areas that it showed like so many different facets of the city. They're like residential neighborhoods and then kind of like warehousey areas like under the highway. It just felt really like dirty and on the ground, and I really liked it. It's like a side of Chicago like you don't really see that often in film.
Yeah, I agree. And it features like some of the most loving portrayals of biking that I've seen captured, and it was just fun. It was a fun time. It was directed by Alex Phillips, who made All Jacked Up and Full of Worms, which is sort of like a Severin Films title release underground thing that sort of gathered this cult following. And this is the second feature from Alex, and I see a lot of development from the two features, and I'm really looking forward to the next movie. Now, this is not going to be everyone's bag. This movie is very sexual, very violent, humorous, and trying to poke you in the eyes and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of like inappropriate things that happen in front of children. Yeah, like that is like a recurring bit. Is that like children watching all these horrible things go down, which is commentary. The movie is very aware of these more twisted elements.
Yeah, definitely. It does feel very transgressive and like kind of like purposely so, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like edgelordy in a certain way.
It's not cruel.
No, and it has so much sex. Probably the most sex I've seen in a movie released semi-recently in a while.
Yeah, Anything That Moves.
Yeah, Anything That Moves.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out something at the very end, at the tail end of the credits. It says, shot in Chicago, Illinois, where everything is all right. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's great. It feels like really Chicago, more than I think. Am I ready to say more than any of the rest of them in the City and State section? Like what is it? What's its competition?
Like One Golden Summer, which is just like literally about,
that's true.
Like a documentary about Chicago. But yeah, I would say out of the other ones.
But like so much of the story of that movie takes place on the road.
Yeah, that's true.
And at the Little League World Series. Yes, it's representative of Chicago, but there's like very little, even in the documentary, of like watching the boys in Chicago. It's a lot of like, talking heads and stuff like that. Whereas like almost all of the ones that we talk about represent the city.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about the section. But this is the one that was like really shot on location, and utilized its locations best. I thought.
Definitely. And I think in recent years, there's been a lot of kind of callback type movies that are trying to emulate an earlier, like scuzzier style of filmmaking. I'm thinking of something, I don't know. The example I can think of the most, just because his name is in the news today, but X by Ty West. and I guess Maxine as well. And those movies, I mean, I don't really. X was okay. I didn't really like Maxine at all,
I like
but
Pearl. Pearl was my favorite of the three.
I didn't like Pearl either. But
Yeah.
though that has a similar vibe of trying to be more like it was trying to do Grindhouse, trying to do like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sure.
It didn't really achieve that. It kind of felt just like,
Well, Maxine is the one that's the most like
yeah,
trying to be 80s, and oh god,
it was
so
really
rough.
bad. But this movie felt
like the movies it was referencing.
Yeah, it was like, it felt more like it was reaching towards that. It reminded me kind of like early Abel Ferreira. Did you ever see The Driller Killer?
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like that kind of stuff. Stuff where it's just like, it feels nasty and dirty, but like also it doesn't feel fake. I don't know. I really liked it. There's some really gross shit at the end. But I think overall it was really great. Anything that moves.
4 stars. Let's talk about Before the Call. This is a film directed by James Choi, and it's the world premiere of the film. As a global crisis escalates, a young man in Seoul counts down the hours to his impending military service, reflecting on his choice to enlist.
What did you think of this one?
I quite liked this one. I thought this was some of the best cinematography of the movies that we've seen so far. It's like 57 minutes long.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, its main, roadblock to distribution, which sucks because I love to see a movie be the exact length that it's meant to be. I don't think this story needed to be an hour and a half just to get that, like, oh, I'm just like the other movies. 57 minutes is a feature.
I feel like I haven't seen a 57-minute feature in a long time.
Yeah, I think the last movie that was this length that I thought of was Celine Sciamma's movie, not Young Mothers. That's another movie.
I know what you're talking about.
Called, oh my God, I love this movie.
The
Petite
young girl.
Maman.
Yeah.
Little Mom.
Yeah, Little Mom.
Petite Maman. And yeah, I thought about that movie a lot during this one, where it's like, Petite Maman was like one of my favorite movies of that year. And that was another one that sort of blew me away with how the economy of storytelling and how it can still have quiet moments that linger. Like, this movie didn't feel stuffed with event. You know what I mean?
Definitely not. Yeah.
It allowed its moments to breathe. And, a lot of like these intertitles with like a character, reading.
Or writing a letter.
Yeah, writing a letter.
So the director is based in Chicago, or he's in Chicago, and that's why it's
part of the city and state program.
Even though it's not,
it's set in Seoul.
Yeah, it's set in Seoul, and it's about it's interesting. I feel like most of when I have seen or heard of Korean Americans or people who live in Korea, people who live in the United States from Korea. I know that this is a thing. There's a lot of Korean DACA recipients where this is a thing where they have to like deal with whether or not they go back to Korea to do their military service.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that this is, and I know someone who he's Korean American. He was like, I'm pretty sure he was born here and raised here. And then like he went to Korea once and they were like, you have to go to the army right now. And he had to, it was like a thing for him.
Yeah. I have a friend who has a similar situation.
Yeah. And it's interesting that this character is choosing to go and do that. It's a perspective that is kind of outside of like what I'm aware of. But I guess like within the realm of the movie, it's sort of, it's not like explicitly set in some kind of future, but I feel like it's set, or it's actually not set in the future, it's set in 2024, but it's set in a kind of escalation of what's going on right now in Ukraine and with North Korea. And I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I thought it was really, there's a quiet tension throughout the whole thing. Like you just hear things on the news, you just hear things like in the background, that even if he's not acting like it specifically, that the main character is about to go do something that could be dangerous.
Yeah. It oftentimes when news broadcasts are used in movies, it could feel so heavy-handed. Mm-hmm. And this one felt natural, even though it was constant.
Yeah.
It felt like the world we live in, where things are constantly happening and, characters are responding. And it felt more relevant considering the imminent deployment. I thought that the relationship between the son and his dad was really well handled and just very singular, lived in. and the performances were great.
Yes.
I really want to see what the next movie of this director is.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would love for him to make a Chicago movie.
Yes, definitely. I guess I can't. I have to point out, I didn't know this, that you had to do this with them. But he has a hairless cat who he leaves with his dad.
Oh, they gotta wipe the butt.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You have to constantly wipe the butt.
Yeah.
That was so interesting.
That's
I also
crazy.
learned that.
That's crazy.
Why the hairless cat?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like it's just flapping butt cheeks?
I guess it just gets dirtier. Yeah, I don't know.
That's fascinating.
My wife is allergic to cats. I guess you are as well.
Yeah.
And so there are days where I sort of want a cat, but the only type of cat we would be able to get is a hairless
There's one
cat.
that you have to wipe its butt all the
Yeah,
time.
and I'm not
Might
gonna
as
do
well
that.
just have a kid at that
Yeah.
point. Okay. So the next movie that we have to talk about is a movie called Only Heaven.
We have to talk about.
Oh shit, that's rude. The next movie we have on the docket to talk about is Only Heaven Knows. It's a movie that is directed by Nurzhamal Karamoldoeva, a Kyrgyz director. Mm-hmm.
And it's the world premiere.
And it's the world premiere of this film. This edgy Chicago set drama follows a Kyrgyz family thrown into turmoil when the prodigal son gets in over his head with gambling debt.
I wouldn't call it edgy.
Edgy, yeah. Edgy was
It was very
like,
patient.
I'm on the edge.
Yeah,
watching
definitely.
it.
Any movie with gambling makes you feel like shit.
Right.
And you're just so stressed out the whole time. I don't really know anything about Kyrgyzstan.
Mm-hmm. Central Asia in general for me is like a big oversight.
Yeah.
In terms of like my world education.
And so I thought it was super interesting seeing. So the director has previously done documentaries, and I think you can definitely feel that in the Chicago scenes. There's a lot of scenes within the Kyrgyz community in Chicago at like restaurants and like seeing them like do their like traditions. And I thought that stuff was super awesome. It's not it's not a community I was familiar with. And I believe that the Chicago area has like the largest Kyrgyz community in the United States. But I thought that stuff was super cool. And I mean, I just thought the movie looked really beautiful. I really loved the opening, has like some really beautiful like early morning shots because the main guy is a truck driver. The gambling scenes were so stressful. Just
Yeah.
A lot of the times I love how they're shot in that like you don't see what he's playing. You just see his reaction.
Yeah.
And just like the devastation as he realizes he's losing is so stressful. I don't know. I was really stressed out by it, but I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and the sort of mounting pressure on the female lead as it goes from his story, his name's Eric?
Yeah.
To her story, and her name is?
Mira.
And it's sort of like there's this transference that happens from this one character's like stress of his life crumbling to this woman as she finds that she's pregnant by another man, and sort of having to pick up the pieces of her partner. There's like a really, really tense scene in the middle that sort of blew me away with the police car that I don't think the movie recovers from how good that scene is.
Yeah.
It's like a great calling card scene for a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I really like the performance, especially the lead woman.
Yes.
But I don't think the movie gets better than that scene.
Yeah. I think it reminded me almost, it reminded me of sort of the Italian neorealists, where I think a lot of those movies feel so much of it is about like the characters and the filmmaking and like where they are, that the plot can kind of sometimes like maybe like enter cliches or like spin its wheels, and it's more so about like what you're seeing. It's more so just like about the experiences that you're seeing, not necessarily plot stuff.
Right. And it's going for realism. It's going for that. And so maybe let's talk about another movie that's going for realism. New Group, a very normal movie that we watched together at the Music Box. That's by director Yûta Shimotsu. And let me do a little description for you here. New Group is if Invasion of the Body Snatchers traded pods for human pyramids and took place in a Japanese high school. It would be this absurd body horror film. Yeah. This movie was crazy, Paco.
This movie was very strange. The director was in attendance. He seemed really awesome.
Yeah, he seemed like a good hang.
Yes.
He bragged about drinking Malort for the first time. Katie Reif did a pretty fun Q&A with him. I didn't like this movie at all, though. I'm so sorry.
I liked it more than you did, I think, but I definitely was struggling. I wanted to like it more as I was watching it because I was like, this guy seems awesome. But there's something. He kept mentioning that he had no budget during it and that he filmed it in 13 days. And I definitely think you can kind of feel the strain of that. It's not super well thought out. The central image of the people on a pyramid is awesome, and then it doesn't really go beyond that.
It doesn't develop its ideas. I think that's the main, like, the thing about people who complain about not having a budget all the time is like, it doesn't take budget to develop ideas. And to take your idea from its first iteration to like it being a finished movie. And instead, the best scene in the movie is a scene that doesn't require high budget, which is that there's this chase scene in a haunted house.
Yes.
That the high schoolers have been putting together, and it's like very DIY production design, and that's the best looking the movie gets. Whereas, I think what he wanted to do with a higher budget is probably just like the end of the world stuff. Yeah. And that stuff, like, I don't know. It feels like half-assed to me. It's like limitation should make you more creative, not less creative,
Yeah, I could see that. I did really like a big part of the movie would be gymnastics.
Sure. You mean like the pyramids and stuff?
Yeah,
and like
the pyramids,
the forms that they're doing.
Yeah, they're always like doing like weird forms
stuff.
and like the worm. It's really
awesome.
funny.
No, that stuff is great. I like it's funny.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah.
It did not help that we had the most annoying audience on the planet. I don't normally like to complain about audiences, but
it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I turned around and asked them to stop, and they didn't.
Yeah. But it seemed like everyone we talked to also who saw the movie that night had the most annoying people on the planet behind them. So I think it was just an audience-wide disaster. Yeah, I think people were laughing at everything and then not laughing at other funny stuff. It was strange. There's a weird tension between when people were laughing, which often happens, but usually in rep screenings, not really in new movies. But
I often find it in movies that the tone of the movie is not one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So movies that are either like really disturbing with some funny elements or really funny with some disturbing elements. And this is more in the latter camp, where I'm like, if it's the latter thing of like, it's a really funny and then there's some disturbing stuff, I'm okay if you laugh at the disturbing stuff. But it's not laughter that we were complaining about. It was people completely thinking that they were in their own apartment.
Yeah, definitely.
But I got really excited at some scenes there. So basically the main thrust of this movie is that in this high school, they start to just like notice that there's like one kid outside who's like on his hands and knees, and then there's two kids stacked on top of each other. And then slowly but surely, like more people start getting added to this human pyramid, and then the human pyramid starts attacking people.
Yeah.
And it's about, groupthink and sort of half-assed, idea of assimilation.
The main character is called I, and her love interest is you.
And everyone went, "Oh!" in the
Q&A. But
whatever. I love when a dumb guy makes a movie. It's great.
Yeah, I don't know if he's dumb, but I love a dumb idea for a movie.
Right.
And I'm excited to see what he does next.
Yeah.
I think that he's creative and he has a good sense of humor. And he seems like a chill hang.
Sense of humor.
Yeah, he seems like a chill hang. And you know what? At a certain point, that's better than most directors.
That's true. Good vibes.
New group.
New group. Do you want to talk about some movies that you and I both saw without the other?
Yes.
So I'm going to try to not say too much about these ones and recommend them to people. I watched the new Dardennes brothers movie called Young Mothers. That's Luc and Jean-Pierre Dardennes. They're a Belgian brotherly pair. I need to make up brothers. they're Belgian bros.
They call them the Belgian bros.
Ladies and gentlemen, they call them the Belgian bros. They're from Belgium. This is a Music Box Films release. So full disclosure, that is a company that I work for. However, I've been a fan of the Dardennes for a very long time. They've made, like 2 Days, One Night, Rosetta, the child. What was the one a few years ago? Lakita. Oh my God, Lakita and Son. Tori and Lakita. They also made a movie called The Son. But they sort of take you were talking about Italian neorealism. They do realism, social realism, kind of in the vein of like an Andrea Arnold or these other Mike Lees. These other like talking about social classes and people who fall through the social safety net. And this is about a home for young mothers between the ages of 13 and 18 who have become pregnant, and the people who take care of them. And so it sort of is like, it's not chapters, but you sort of go back and forth between these different mothers and their stories.
Gotcha.
And they're all very different, and they all have very different backgrounds and different support systems. And it was devastatingly sad, but also with a sense of humor. And it's never going for that tear-jerking scene.
Mm-hmm.
But I cried multiple times. And then the Dardennes just gave like a killer Q&A afterwards. They're just like two chillers, it seems.
Any dumb questions?
They didn't do any audience questions.
That's awesome. That's great.
So no audience
Great to
questions.
hear.
It was great. No. The Q&A was handled really well. And I thought it was really a special screening experience. I'm really happy that I saw it there as opposed to on like a screener on my computer.
Yeah, makes sense. I didn't see it because it looked really sad.
Really sad, but I do recommend it to people. It's called Young Mothers. It's not just sad stuff.
And it'll be out with Music Box.
Yeah, it'll be released at the theater, probably early next year.
Gotcha. A movie I saw that you did not see was Palestine 36, directed by Annemarie Jacir, and it was the U.S. premiere. And it was about the 1936 Arab revolt in Palestine, and it was sort of like a historical epic. I'm trying to find think about like what to compare it to, but it was just like a historical epic. A lot of characters moving around about like the Palestinians at the time under a British mandate revolting against the British government and the British imperial government. It was filmed mostly in Palestine, I believe, and it was really good. It was very solid. It had a lot of characters, a lot of moving pieces. It was really centered at a really solid grasp of the class dimensions going on, where some of the characters were, farmers and peasants who join a rebellion. There are other characters who are like richer business people in Palestine who are kind of working with the British government. It was very sad by the end. It was, I don't know. It was really great. Jeremy Irons is in it for a bit. He plays a really evil British guy. Liam Cunningham is also in there. He also plays an evil British guy. Hiam Abbas is in it. She's very good.
I love Hiam Abbas. She's the best.
Oh, Hiam. Okay. I don't know.
Hiam.
Yeah. Hiam. She was really great. It was a really solid movie. I love historical epics.
Mm-hmm.
It did a really good job of balancing characterization and like getting you to like care about the characters, and then also explaining what was actually going on historically. It was a really, my one issue with the movie is that it uses archival footage, which is awesome. Like it'll go between like a dramatized scene and then it will show you kind of like archival footage of the time what was going on, but they used like AI upscaling to like colorize it, and it just looked kind of weird. I just wasn't like a big fan of that. I don't like that stuff. Doesn't bother me that much, but it wasn't like super well done.
Did you ever see that like World War I in color? What's his name?
Peter Jackson?
Yeah,
I did not.
Yeah, I went to go see that with my grandpa. I thought it was the coolest thing when it came out, but I can see that sort of trick getting a little.
I think back then, I think just now the technology, like you can do it so much more easily. So I think it can be done more cheaply and like kind of shoddier.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many like clip farming things that are like, look at this place from 1876 in color.
Yeah. Definitely. Or like there's a lot of awesome movies you can find on YouTube, like old ass movies you can find on YouTube, like Argentinian, or like Moz Film uploads a ton of like old like Russian classics, just like from the Soviet Union or even from later. And almost all of them are like AI upscaled 4K shit.
Not sick.
But you can watch a bunch of free movies, which is cool. But yeah, Palestine 36. It was really good. I would recommend it.
Let's talk about some shorts.
Shorts.
We both watched a different shorts block.
Yes.
Paco, in your shorts block, was there any that stood out for you? And what was the shorts block that you covered?
Yes. So I watched the After Dark shorts. 6 shorts, all kind of horror tinged. So the 6 shorts were Blue Violet, directed by Josie Charles; Coyotes, directed by Saeed Zagha; Dummy, directed by Francesca Pazniokas; Earworm, directed by Patrik Eklund; Pinpoint, directed by Michael Merlino; and Hotel Acropole, directed by Sarah Lasry. I would say my favorites were Blue Violet. That was the first one, directed by Josie Charles. It's British, unfortunately, but it's it's a found footage-y type movie from the point of view of this woman making like a birthday letter to her girlfriend, or who you think at first is her girlfriend. She's kind of like unhinged and weird and keeps calling her on the phone. It's like, I'm making you a birthday letter. And you know, as the movie goes on, you kind of like discover that they've broken up and she's being like really stockish and obsessive. I was the whole time I was like, where's the horror in this? It's more of a thriller and it's more of a drama. There's like footage of them, like they take a camping trip together, and yeah, it didn't feel very horror-y. And then at the very end, it has a very funny kicker where, I guess spoiler alert for this 10-minute short, but it's just, you don't want me to talk about it. It's just the best part.
Talk about it. I just gave Paco the no.
Yeah, don't. But it's the best part.
All right, let's talk about it.
During the camping video that they show, there's like a sex scene that the main character keeps replaying, where her girlfriend talks about how much she loves her fingers. And so at the end of the movie, as she's like having a psychotic break, she makes a gift for her girlfriend, and it turns out she cut off her fingers.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it's pretty solid. If you didn't listen to that, you should go watch it because it's pretty funny. My favorite of the shorts was Coyote, directed by Saeed Zagha. It is a Palestinian movie set in the West Bank, and it's about a surgeon who, as she's driving back home after spending the day with who you find out is her lover, her car breaks down in like the middle of nature, and like a random guy like stops and is like, "Oh, I'll help you out." And then it's kind of like he ends up like giving her a ride home, and it's very tense. It's got like all these like crazy like super dark scenes set in nature. There's coyotes that you can see like their eyes glowing. It's really tense, and it does a really great. The whole time you're just like wondering what his deal is. It does a really great job. The atmosphere is great. I don't know. I can't talk more. This one I don't want to spoil, so I can't talk much about it without spoiling it. But I would really recommend. It's only 20 minutes. Coyotes, and then I'm not going to talk about this one too much, but it's kind of funny. It's called Earworm. It's Swedish by Patrik Eklund. It's about a literal, like, it starts off with like a literal earworm, like a little worm going into a guy's head. And it's just about a guy who can't get the song Cotton Eye Joe by Rednecks out of his head. So it feels a lot like something I would have loved on like College Humor in 2011. Yeah. But it's pretty funny.
Okay.
It's just a guy who can't get the song out of his head. It like keeps like in inappropriate moments, he keeps yelling it out. And then a movie that I didn't like that much, but I think you would like, was Hotel Acropole, directed by Sarah Lasry. It's very French. It's about a pregnant woman who has like a mysterious wound on her back, and she goes to like a hotel to mourn her dead partner, I think, and then like her ex-lover shows up, and they have like all these monologues, and there's some gross stuff with the wound. It's very French. It reminded me kind of like the new French extremity stuff. Like it's just like a lot of like monologues about like sex, and then just like the grossest shit imaginable.
And I would love that.
I think you would like that.
Okay, cool. No, you're not wrong.
But yeah,
I don't usually like the French extremity stuff, although
Okay.
I guess I'm more hit or miss. Like I like Martyrs and I like Trouble Every Day, but I don't really like the rest of it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's very patient.
Okay.
It's very well made. If Sarah Lasry does a feature, I would definitely go watch it. It was a good proof of concept for like her filmmaking, I would say. But just I would say the gross stuff didn't freak me or like didn't turn me off of it, but like just the Frenchness of it did.
Yeah.
I was just kind of annoyed by it. But yeah, After Darks overall, it was okay.
Not your favorite.
Not my favorite.
Block.
I mean, Coyotes was so good that it kind of made me feel better about the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely...
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes there's one that just like is above and beyond. And I would say for my block that I had one like that as well. I watched the family-friendly animation block, and I really felt like it was losing me while I was watching them. And like each one was really too cutesy for me. And I was like, oh, well, this just might not be made for me. There was just a few in there that like they weren't bad. It just like felt like children's animation where it was like educational or trying to make a point about the world or the universe or something. And it was trying my patience. And then there was a few bangers that hit near the end. So the films that were shown as part of the of this family-friendly animation block were Tsuna the Empty Can, Meatball and Spaghetti, directed by Iku Ogawa, Pow, directed by Joey Clift, On the Mat Outside My Door, directed by Antje Heyn, Your Gramps and the Whale, directed by Mariana Elisabetsky, Snow Bear, directed by Aaron Blaze, Are We There Yet, directed by Sven Kristelbauer, Raoul Bison, and Marion Zetter, and Lily, directed by Kate Siegel. There was also another short that I didn't have access to because I watched them on screeners, so I will not be talking about that. But this, this block, like I was saying, it just like, it was very much so in that family friendly thing where it's like, if this was on PBS in front of a kid, it might be good for them. There was like one about grief that was Your Gramps and the Whale. It's a Brazilian one, about a kid and a grandpa playing, and the grandpa dies, and then they're like underwater and they feel the weight of that. And then they wake up in the morning and they go to the beach and there's like a beached whale, and it's like representative of grief. That was, it was like well made, and I respected it. Same with Tsuna and the Empty Can, which is a stop motion one. And Pow, which was, it just was like the most like talking about screenagers, and I just like, it's like a Native American kid who is like supposed to be like appreciating his surroundings, and instead is on his playing video games. And I was just kind of like, okay, we get it. Again, probably good for kids, but not really my bag. On the Mat Outside My Door was the one that drove me the most crazy. It was just sort of like a lot of rhyming couplets and animation that wasn't my favorite. And so like those were the first four, and I was sort of like very down on this block, but it saved it in the last three for me. Snow Bear, which started off, and I was worried because it was another one that had a similar style of animation to the others. It was very clearly about environmental issues, about a polar bear. And then I was like, this is reminding me of one of my family's low-key favorite movies, Brother Bear. Like we ride hard for Brother Bear. Mm-hmm. There were certain Disney animated movies that we were just like all in on, like Treasure Planet and Atlantis, and that era where I feel like people were jumping
down
off on
Disney. Everyone was gone.
That me and my family loved. And then I looked it up, and of course the animator of this short film was the director of Brother Bear.
Okay.
But it wasn't for Disney. This is his own thing.
Interesting.
And he just clearly loves bears. And it's just like, it's animated in that same style where it's about this polar bear who is by himself and builds a snow polar bear, and then the polar bear melts and then he meets another polar bear, not a human woman, to be clear. Cut that out. I just thought that this one was like, the animation carried me through even when I was like less interested in like the environmental angle. I just was like, I don't need to be like told that, but the one that followed that was my favorite one of the entire block, which is called Are We There Yet? Which is like the one that I think has the least amount of like stuff written about it. It had one Letterboxd review when I went to go. It didn't even have a poster. And it's about a little kid who's in the back seat of a road trip and his parents are fighting and he's playing with his toys, and it's like animating that. And it's like, he's like playing with a big Godzilla and like an action figure. And you slowly realize that the characters that he's playing with are like representing the fight that his parents are having, but it's like not overly dramatized. It's just like normal parents bickering stuff. And it doesn't resolve in like I'm going to teach you a lesson sort of way. It sort of like ends on like, well, parents will fight, and him being like, are we there yet? And it was funny. And it was the shortest one. It was 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And it just was like really brilliantly told. And the animation was fantastic. And then the last one I want to talk about is Lily, directed by Kate Siegel. Which, if you don't know who Kate Siegel is, she is like Mike Flanagan's wife and the star of The Haunting of Hill House.
Really?
Yeah. And this is like sort of like, I am of the belief that children should be scared more often. It's good for kids. And this is an adaptation of a Stephen King short about a kid who has an awful, mean teacher who won't let him go to the bathroom. And then he goes to the bathroom and there's a tiger in the bathroom. And then it goes from there. And it was really charming and fun. It's read by Kate Siegel and animated in this like sort of sketch, like a dark pencil or like charcoal-y with like reds and greens. And it's just like sort of like reminded me of like, scary stories you tell in the dark, or maybe not that level of scary, but like middle schooler, it's like middle school horror.
Yeah.
And just like has like a little bit of an edge where it's like you hear from like the little boy's perspective, and he calls his teacher a witch. He's like, but maybe he thought a different letter to begin. Like it was just sort of like, it's like, ooh, when you're like a kid and you read that, you're like, oh, that's great. I don't think you can say that.
Yeah.
And it just was like, it was very charming, and Kate Siegel is the best. I love her very much. And so I'm very much so in support of Lily. Those are the animated shorts and family friendly animated shorts. Yes, I am going to be watching the next animated block as well. But we have one movie we do need to talk about still.
Is this thing on?
Was this thing on for you, Paco?
Was this thing on? Is this thing on? Directed by,
I want to say Bradley
Cooper.
Got it.
There was this, I want to say Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards bit that for some reason is stuck in my head around the time of when Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Jack Black was hosting. Can you believe it? And or maybe it was even the Oscar. I don't know. He was just hosting something, and he was like, I'm going to bring up two people, one of them with like, everyone knows his name, and the other one with a very strange, like foreign sounding name. And then he's like, Shia LaBeouf and Harrison Ford?
Bardley Corper?
From the upcoming movie Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, 2 actors. One's name is classic and embodies manliness. The other is strange and exotic. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. Please welcome to the stage Shia LaBeouf and Harrison Ford?
Is this thing on?
Is this thing on? Yeah, we watched this at the Music Box.
Yes.
A
packed crowd.
Full
of old people.
Right.
Old people love Bradley. Do you think it's because of Maestro, or is it just because?
I think that this sort of dramedy appeals to a certain audience.
Yes.
And who doesn't love Laura Dern?
Who doesn't love Laura Dern?
I was okay. Just first line item for me about Is This Thing On? Pleasantly surprised how much this was a Laura Dern movie.
Yes.
Like, I really was going in expecting her to be like in 3 scenes, to be the nagging wife, to be like this, like not a character. She's fully a character in this movie.
Yes, definitely. I guess we should maybe talk about the plot
Oh,
a
do you want
tiny
me to
bit.
find
If you want, or we can just describe it. I mean, it's about a divorced guy, or a separated guy,
Yeah.
who becomes a stand-up comedian and kind of finds himself along the way.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the trailer. This is Bradley Cooper's 3rd film.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw Star is Born. I have seen the Oscars clip of them singing Shallow a million times, but I've never seen the actual movie.
Did you see the short film that was the first theatrical trailer of A Star Is Born?
Yes, definitely.
That should have won best short.
Hey.
Let me get another look at you.
I did see Maestro. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It was all right. What do you think, Maestro?
Maestro rules! Who abandoned Snoopy in the vestibule? No, I watched... Okay. I liked Star Is Born. I think Star Is Born's really good. I went to Maestro with my dear friend Morgan Wierzinski. We walked in not expecting anything. And then the whole time, we're just like leaned forward, hitting each other as scene after scene. It was just like exactly our personality. And I was shocked at how much I loved Maestro. Like, it really, for me, like it was one that, like, I think we watched it at some cresting level of like Bradley Cooper exhaustion and just like people turning on the movie before.
You mean we as in society?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And less society, more like discourse, online bullshit that I used to be a little bit more tuned into. Now I'm like, whatever. Are people mad? Is this thing on? Who knows? But at that point, I think I went in like with no expectations or expecting to hate it, and then was like so surprised how much I liked it. And then I took my family as well, and I was like doing the thing to them where I was like, well, I really love this movie, but you might not. And we left and they're like, Jeremy, that's like a totally normal movie. That was great.
That
and I was like,
movie.
no, exactly.
That is not a normal movie.
No, that is not a normal movie. And like, I think they really liked Maestro.
Yeah.
But they were like, oh yeah, that's like a movie. And I was like, and I feel sort of similarly about Is This Thing On, where it's like, this movie's weird in ways that are like disguised as normie.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's it's an odd duck movie, and I didn't like this movie as much.
Yeah, I think I liked it
more than I did. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's because, ultimately, I think it's because finally we are getting the stories told about how hard it is to be a straight guy and how hard it is to be a married straight guy. And,
is that what this movie's about?
It's
pretty easy for him to work through his problems
within the context of the movie.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't have that many trials. Like, it's like,
I mean, it's kind of hard for him.
Yeah, like it's like annoying.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I
but
guess
he's like still in his kids' lives. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's not that dramatic, which I kind of like about it.
Yeah,
it's
I think that's what I mean. It's not like it's taking seriously that he has issues.
Yeah,
and I think it's what I like about it is that at the end of the day, he realizes that like his problems don't come from his marriage; they come from himself.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, I guess it's nice to have a movie that deals seriously with adult stuff that doesn't need to have like all these like dramatic revelations or anything. And I think I think there is something like really normal about it, and it's weird because it's so normal about it.
Yeah. I hear you. I felt the same thing with Maestro, where I felt the way that people were talking about it was so outside of what I wanted to talk about. Mm-hmm. And with this movie, like, I was really dreading it because I don't like stand-up. Yeah. Like, I don't care about classical music. I don't really care about country stadium rock with Star Is Born. And yet Bradley every time convinces me within the context of the story itself that this matters to this character.
Yeah.
And that's all that the movie did for me, was like, that's why the movie's successful for me and not a bad movie, is because like within the context of, is this thing on, it doesn't need to convince you that stand-up matters to you.
Yeah.
It matters to him,
Yeah.
to Will Arnett.
Yes.
Now, did I believe that all of the stand-up comedians would immediately accept him into their ranks? He wasn't good or interesting enough for that. And I feel like stand-up comedians eat their own. It's not really.
Yeah, but also they weren't that good either. You know,
at stand-up.
Yeah,
they were more polished than he was.
No, definitely, I know, but I guess I also don't care for stand-up, and the stand-up scenes were my least favorite part of the movie. I actually liked how they were filmed, but I didn't like what he was saying.
There was I was sort of hit or miss on it. I need to maybe watch it again, but there was one scene where he's bombing that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a realistic. It wasn't like a movie version of bombing.
Yes,
where it wasn't every note that he hit that was bad. It was like he would get a rhythm and then he'd lose it, and then he'd get a rhythm again and lose it, and then he asks for help from one of the other stand-ups, and they make fun of him.
Yeah,
and that was like a very realistic way that would happen. It wasn't overly dramatic. But Laura Dern is in this movie, Parker. Let's talk about what really matters.
She's very good. She slaps a column like a volleyball.
Yes, it's
awesome. Really.
So I brought it up. Me and my siblings play volleyball every week, and I went straight from this movie to a volleyball game. And I brought it up to my siblings. I was like, "Oh, it's a volleyball movie," and my sister was like, "Oh, do they play volleyball?" I hate movies where characters play volleyball because it's always so obvious that they don't know what they're doing. Because volleyball is one of the hardest sports, secretly, like quietly, like to look like you're doing it well. Mm-hmm. Kind of like baseball, where it's hard to fake good baseball.
Yeah.
And it's easier to fake good basketball, like, because you can just like cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even like football and like track and these other sports, it's like, it's easier to fake it. Volleyball is like very specific. You have to do certain things with your body that are a little unnatural. And I told my sister, like, there's one scene in this movie where you see Laura Dern do an approach, and it is very much so covered by the net. It's very clear that they did not have her do that, but like the one photo of her is from the back.
Yeah.
Of her playing for the U.S. women's national team.
Well, yeah, it could have been anyone.
Yeah. And then they make that part of it.
Yeah.
But Laura Dern is like really great in this movie. There's a cameo in this movie that I'm not going to spoil of when Laura Dern goes on a date.
Yes.
And it made me laugh so hard. There was 2 moments in this movie that made me laugh. Can you remember
the first one?
The first one?
Bradley Cooper's introduction. Yeah.
That's the most I've laughed this year.
It was really funny.
That was so funny. Bradley Cooper is really funny in this movie.
Yes.
And like I was thinking in my head, like, has he ever done comedies? I was like, he was in the Hangover movie.
But he always plays the straight man.
He was the straight man in that.
He never plays except for Licorice Pizza.
Oh, he's so funny in Licorice Pizza.
But he never plays he always plays the straight man.
But he's like a nervy, I'll kill you
in
Licorice Pizza.
It kind of does feel, it doesn't feel like completely outside of his range. In this movie, it feels like he's opening something.
Coked out, Bradley. And this is like guy who's been sober for too long, like had a drug addiction and is now
But he's
sober.
not sober. The whole point is that he's not sober.
He's not sober. You're right. Actually, that's true.
Famously.
No, but I okay, maybe not sober, but like he feels like he's an annoying theater kid. Like an actor who takes himself too seriously.
There's a way that someone described someone else to me once, which was, he was like, this is a guy who smokes too much weed to the point that he starts believing the stuff that when he's high, he has thoughts of, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's just like, he's having all these like mind-blowing thoughts. And then instead of like the next morning being sober and being like, that was stupid, he's like, wow, that was great.
Yeah.
You know? And that's how kind of all actors are.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very accurate portrayal of actors. And just like something where it's like, you know, I think like the thing that people have been making fun of Bradley Cooper for the last few years since Maestro is that he takes himself too seriously.
Yes.
And so I was worried when his character started, even though I laughed really hard at it, that he was going a little bit too hard into like, no, see, I can make fun of myself. but it sort of just made me laugh the whole movie, and it didn't take itself so seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was moments that I liked and moments that I didn't really vibe with. There was a decent portion of the movie where I was just completely bored. And it was like, I was like, okay, if I was at home watching this, I would be on my phone.
That's funny.
And then there was portions of this movie where I was like, the filmmaking is really good. Like, what do you think of the stuff at like the house?
When they go
like near the end, when they go out, like these couples go up to the house, they're supposed to be separated.
It was
like
really funny.
cheating on each other with.
I thought it was clever. I don't know. I guess I think that I thought it was interesting how it gets at something that a lot of movies don't get at, which is that, like the thrill of getting back with someone and like kind of doing something that you're kind of not supposed to. Yeah. But like is also totally fine. That's
like the slapping the column moment.
Yeah.
Of like that frustration of like, I shouldn't be backsliding.
Yeah.
What does this look like for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that stuff was really good.
And then there's a really funny scene where all the characters just randomly start singing Amazing Grace.
Yeah, that was really funny. That scene where they start singing just feels like something where Andra Day is just such a good singer that she started doing that in a take, and then they just naturally found it really funny if the other characters start just joining in, and like a discovery moment. That scene didn't really work for me. And it just went on for so long that I was like waiting for another beat of that joke that never happened. I guess I wanted to laugh more in the movie. Did it remind you at all of what's it called? Judd Apatow's Funny People?
I never saw that.
Another movie where it's like, this is not funny for most of its run. It's also so long. But I don't know. The stuff that worked really worked for me. So
yes, I think part of it's inspired by someone's life.
Yeah, based on a true story.
It's funny. I think part of why I connected to it is, and I realized after, it's that I've just like, Will Arnett has been a part of my life for a really long time. Like I started watching Arrested Development when I was like 7 or 8, like as it was coming out. So I think I just like, he's been in different parts of my life, and I've been like, he's been trying to do like a dramatic entrance for like a while now. I feel like I mean, BoJack was his thing, BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
And that show, when it came out, meant a lot to me. I'm not going to touch it ever again. But
I still think it's pretty good. But I don't think that's the cool thing to say anymore.
That's not even. I just feel like it just feels
you need to go back there.
I think I just need like a few more years. Like it took me like, I needed like over a decade past when I watched Girls to go back to it and appreciate it. And I think like we're still kind of in the BoJack moment, to a certain extent, culturally. So we need to like get past it before we can like appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that show really responded to itself in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And that was also like at a part where like television criticism did affect things. Mm-hmm. And now I just don't know if like anything matters.
There's no criticism, so
like,
it's not going to affect anything.
But yeah, I love the animation of that show. I think that show's so funny.
Yes.
Another BoJack connection, Amy Sedaris is in this. movie.
True. Yeah, she's really funny.
Love Amy Sedaris. Wanted her to be a character.
Yes, definitely.
She's not really a character. She's like the MC of the club, the comedy club.
I didn't know that Will Arnett has a podcast with Sean Hayes,
who's also in the movie.
He's also in the movie, and Jason Bateman, who's not.
Okay, whatever. I'm not a big fan of celebrity podcasts, except for Amy Poehler's, which is very charming to me and very light.
Well, it's just like this is our thing. You guys have your jobs.
Just be famous people. And like my job is to talk to other famous people. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is this thing on? I really liked his performance. So
I was mixed on his performance, if I'm being honest. I was straining to like his performance, and I can feel myself straining. Mm-hmm. And it was like some scenes he was really singing for me, and other scenes I was like, I'm not believing that this moment is happening to this character.
I could see that.
And I honestly felt like there were scenes where Laura Dern was just acting him off the screen. And she's a very gracious scene partner. I don't mean that in a way that she's like outshining him. She was just like so naturalistic. She had half the amount of time to establish her character, and it's like that. Like it's like these women of a certain age are used to the idea that they're only going to get some scenes, so they have to establish things really quickly. And this movie actually allowed her to be a full-fledged character, so she got somewhere quicker with her character, and then went somewhere more interesting. Whereas Will Arnett's character, I don't know. I struggled with it.
Yeah. I mean,
and I couldn't tell if it was his performance or the character. That was where I might need a rewatch. And I might rewatch this movie and love it a lot more. I feel like some of the movies of this genre don't always hit for me the first time.
Yeah.
So, like every Cameron Crowe movie gets better the second and third time I watch it, even the bad ones. So like, when I'm on the wavelength of what they're trying to go for, as opposed to like my expectations, I can often like things a lot more. But I don't know. I can't say I loved it.
Yeah. I think also like I went in like not thinking I would like it at all.
Yeah.
And so it might also be an expectations thing. Like you really liked Maestro. I was okay, mixed on it. And then I thought the trailer looked awful. And then actually watching it, I thought it was different than what it was going to be. And I guess it is impressive given how funny Will Arnett is. It's funny him playing a guy who's not funny at all.
Right. That's true.
It's not something you see often.
You're right. That's actually a harder thing to do.
Yeah.
Is to make yourself less funny if you are funny.
Yeah. It's like an actor playing a bad actor.
Yeah.
It's like a really hard thing to do. A comedian playing a bad comedian.
Really difficult.
Yeah.
Do you... Okay. Well, yeah. Did you think about the films of James L. Brooks while watching this movie? Because that's what I was thinking about.
Definitely in that vein.
A movie that one time I dared mention that
you're supposed to die. We're supposed to shoot you.
You're supposed to kill me. Wait, do you have the gunshot? Spanglish for me is a movie that's so rancid and bad, and so is the one after that, the one with...
How do you know?
Oh my God. So bad. But again, I have not gone back to rewatch Spanglish since I saw it the first time. Some people claim it's like the masterpiece to end all masterpieces. I'm interested in going back and feeling that out and being like, do I actually... Like, they just released the trailer to Ella McKay.
The second trailer.
Looks bad. I don't know. Doesn't look good. And a bunch of people are claiming that it looks good. And I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
Yeah. Is this thing on?
This thing was off. But something about this thing was off. Were there other parts of this movie that spoke to you, or?
We've been talking about it for a while, so
maybe we'll
wrap it up.
I'm getting the light. This has been my time, folks. Thank you so much for having me on. I'll be here.
I guess it was nice to see a movie about adults for adults. That'll be my final thing.
That's a good way to put it. I'm looking forward for Bradley's next movie to be crazier.
Is this thing on too? He goes on tour.
Yeah. Make Laura Dern's volleyball movie. I would like to see that.
Good. What would be the volleyball name? What's a volleyball term?
Bump set spike.
Yeah.
Can I get a bump?
Yeah.
There we go. This has been enough talk.
Yes. Chicago International Film Festival.
We have a few more days of the festival. We're going to try to cover a few more things. Please, reach out and let us know your thoughts when you do eventually watch these movies.
Yes.
And email us at chicagopodfilmcast@gmail.com. I haven't received enough mail on that. I would like more people to write in. And you know what? Let's do this a call to action. Why doesn't everyone go and give us 5 stars? If you've made it this far in the podcast,
yes.
Why don't you go and give us 5 stars on all your...
5 stars for 4 stars.
5 stars for 4 stars. Give us 5 stars.
Yes.
We would really like... that would really help us in our podcast. So thank you so much.
Oh, actually, I had one last thing. One final thing before we say thank you.
Okay.
There's a great scene in Anything That Moves. It's a club scene set inside Wolfie's.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was one.
That ruled.
That was awesome.
One of the best depictions of hot dogs.
Yes.
Like Chicago dogs. Like,
yeah. Just a great movie.
Yeah.
Go see anything that moves. Go see all the other movies we saw as well. Thanks for listening.
Please be considerate when talking on your phone or listening to electronic devices. Doors closing.
Wait, Paco, should I talk about how one of the actresses in used to come to the music box and steal the toilet paper out of the bathrooms, or should I leave that out?
Laura Dern did what?